Hi. Universities may be returning to face-to-face classes, but video lessons in university education are here to stay. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can remix YouTube content into engaging video lessons and learning activities for your students, but without becoming a full-time content creator. Hi, I'm Greg. I'm a biology professor, and this channel is about educational technology, with a focus on effective use of educational technology in higher education. Over the last couple of years, all of us in higher education have found ourselves creating video content one way or another. Our students have gotten used to it too. They use video content for learning, and they value it even when classes are face-to-face. But what about using already existing video content in innovative ways? Can we incorporate videos that we like into educational technology that we already use? Can we do this efficiently and well without devoting all of our time to content creation? The answer is yes, and the method is something I call educational remixing. Okay, here's how the rest of this video will play out. I'll outline the problem university educators are facing with content creation and some different ways people are taking to tackle it. Then I'll walk through a simple 5-step process for educational remixing. This is a process that you can use right away to integrate video content into your own classes at multiple levels. Through educational remixing, you can strengthen student learning using your own video lessons, but without turning yourself into a full-time content creator. Now, if you watch this video and you want to try educational remixing for yourself, I'll also provide a downloadable quick guide that you can use in your own workflow. Now, that's provided your learning management system, or your LMS, has features similar to the ones I'll describe here. If your LMS doesn't have all the features that are needed, or if your LMS isn't really fully integrated with your video platform, I'll provide an alternative guide that you can start with to remix content into non-video lessons. I'm pretty excited about the concept of educational remixing, and I'll be really interested to know how it works for you. I've been making a lot of videos over the last 2 years, and if you work in education at any level, you've probably been doing the same. Of course, some videos have just been recordings of Zoom classes, but I've also found myself making other videos, often short videos on specific topics, and they're maybe topics related to the syllabus. The thing is, my students really appreciate those videos. I get a lot of positive comments in student evaluations of teaching about my videos, and many students ask me to make more of them and to reuse them for future classes. On the occasion when a student nominates me for a teaching award, they often mention the videos I make for their classes, so I'm kind of inclined to keep making them. But, of course, none of us became professors to become content creators. Why not just point students to videos on YouTube? Obviously, YouTube has a huge amount of content, useful content on almost any subject imaginable. And for many topics, there are already dedicated and skilled content creators, and they're making really good quality material. So just pointing students to that material is already valuable. Plus, every student already uses YouTube, so there's actually zero learning curve. Seems perfect, right? Well, maybe not. Because even that best YouTube video you might find for your class, well, it wasn't actually made for your class. That best video is probably missing key elements you might want to include. It's missing learning objectives, it's missing formative assessment tools, it's missing opportunities for reflection, and so on. And that best video probably also includes things you don't need, things you don't want, or maybe even elements that get in the way of your learning objectives. Now, if not YouTube, how about your university LMS? Well, your university LMS probably offers some form of support for video content. If it didn't offer any before 2020, it probably does in 2022. What might your university LMS offer that YouTube doesn't? Well, for one, it might provide some ability to create things like in-video quizzes And it probably provides some ability to create other elements that are specifically designed for education. It's also, because it's part of your LMS, it's integrated with your syllabus and possibly your assessments. But on the downside, of course, your LMS has basically no content unless you create it. So what are the options for educators? Well, we can point students to YouTube videos. That's what we do now. We just tell students, in many cases, we can just tell students to go to YouTube. We could create our own content on YouTube. We could create our own content, but put it on our LMS, take advantage of the features there. Or we could do nothing. And this is really tempting as we go back to face-to-face classes. But there's another option, and that's what I'm calling educational remixing. Video platforms designed to work with an LMS have some features, and those features make this other option for video lessons possible. And that option is exciting. I call it educational remixing because it vaguely resembles music remixing in hip-hop and other genres. The full form of educational remixing, as I see it, has the following components. It explicitly includes learning objectives. It's integrated into the syllabus and however you usually run your course. Educational remixing also includes formative assessments, ideally in-video quizzes to increase student engagement. Educational remixing uses or reuses and remixes content from YouTube instead of creating new content yourself. And educational remixing includes some reflection or follow-up activities for students that are aligned with the course design, and this ensures that it's really active learning. Because learning management systems vary so widely, I don't want to generalize about what is possible within all such systems. But instead, what I've done is kind of divided the categories of educational remixing into two broad classes, and I think they represent what can be done within the most widely used LMSs. The first category is what I'm calling full remixing. In full remixing, the output of the remixing process is a video lesson, and the content is remixed and integrated into the LMS. The second category is what I'm calling alternative remixing. And so if your LMS doesn't support the features required for full remixing, or if you prefer non-video lessons, perfectly legit, then the alternative remixing strategy is completely viable. All of this may seem a bit abstract, so let's walk through the practical process for full remixing into a video lesson. These steps are also included in the downloadable guide to educational remixing that's linked in the description below this video. This is a 5-step process. The first is to establish learning objectives for the unit that you want to remix. Now, you probably already have learning objectives for your course, and you may also have learning objectives for the individual units. But you may need to refine or revise your learning objectives in order to align them with the remixed video lesson that you're about to create. The second is to find YouTube content. And this is content that you want to use and remix into a class unit. Now, in this case, it's important to be specific. You need to know start and stop times of the material that you want to remix. You don't want to mindlessly use entire videos. That's just like sending students to YouTube. Instead, pick the parts of a video or multiple videos that are aligned with your learning objectives and that can become a coherent unit. Third is design a formative assessment. Design an assessment that becomes an in-video quiz that engages the students or raises a question to be addressed early in the lesson. And then design some sort of exercises or form of reflection for at the end of the video, the end of the remixed material. The fourth step is the only content creation part of this, and that is to create a skeletal video. Have it start with the learning objectives, leave a pause for the formative assessment and the remixed content, and provide some follow-up afterwards. Now, this doesn't have to be fancy, and it doesn't have to be long. We're not trying to be content creators here. We're just trying to provide a skeleton for the remixed content. And then the final step is to upload a video, that video to your LMS. The most widely used video platform within university LMSs is, I believe, Panopto, and that's the one that we'll use today. And then you upload that becomes a normal video, and you insert the quiz and the YouTube content that you want to remix. So how about an example? Let's use an actual example. And for this, I'm going to remix a unit in a bioinformatics class on phylogenetic tree estimation. This is a problem of inferring evolutionary trees from DNA sequence data. You don't have to know anything about the topic to see how the remixing works. Okay, to prepare for this, I've already made a skeleton video, and this is a pretty typical skeleton video for me. It's just under 4 minutes long, and I made it using a PowerPoint recording. So this is a recording of the slides, and it's a recording of audio. There are no special tools, there's no webcam, there's just PowerPoint and my voice. I have the learning objectives in a slide at the beginning, and I include a pause in the recording that's just long enough to insert the key materials, or at least long enough to insert the key materials. Just before the quiz, I also have a slide with a graphic that sets up the quiz. This is a one-question true-false quiz, as you'll see if you watch the video. I've also chosen a video from YouTube to remix into this topic. Now in this case, I've chosen a segment of a video from my other channel, so I actually did make that content. But I could have chosen any YouTube video that allows embedding. It doesn't have to be my content, and in many cases, it's not. Now, in order to do this example, I'm going to use the free version of Panopto. So Panopto has a freemium model. It's used in a lot of institutions, but if you don't have Panopto and you want to try it out, you can follow along on this example for yourself. And in any case, you can watch my remixed video on Panopto, and I'm just using that on my free individual account. A link to both the skeleton video. So the skeleton video will be uploaded to YouTube as an unlisted video, but it'll be linked in the description below. The full remix is on the Panopto site, and it will also be linked in the description below. Okay, let's jump into Panopto and see what it's like to remix something in practice. Here we are in the main Panopto folder. I have 2 copies of basically the same skeleton file just to make sure. Here's one copy that's already been uploaded and ready to go. So let's take a look at that one so we can edit it. And here we are, editing this one here. And it's basically a very short 4-minute PowerPoint slide deck that I have recorded and then uploaded into Panopto. Now in this slide deck, I go through the UPGMA algorithm, the learning objectives, which is just a bullet pointed list, an example, and then I leave a space, which you can see down here. I leave a space. I've already cut out a couple of segments because the pause is so long, but I leave a pause where we can insert a couple of key elements. So let's do that now. All we have to do is move the cursor to a point on the timeline. And at this point in the timeline, we're ready to insert a quiz. Now, in order to insert a quiz, what we have to do is go over here to the plus sign in Panopto, and it says Add Content. And if we add content to that, we can add a quiz. So here, what kind of quiz do we want? Let's make a true-false quiz. So for a true-false quiz, the example over here is the default is multiple choice, but we can make a true-false quiz. Let's make a true-false quiz, and our question is going to be, could the tree just shown have been inferred by UPGMA? Now, the answer to that question, the correct answer is no, so we'll leave it as false. We'll put that as false. The correct answer explanation we're going to leave as a blank, because I've also included in the video itself, in the skeletal video, a little discussion of the correct answer just after the video. I have a little discussion of that and some recommendations for next time. Okay, so we can we now say we're done here. Let's see, so you can see where that is. We say here we're done, and now that and we say we're finished with the various options on the quiz, including the position. And so now we have that, and it actually automatically starts playing. And now that quiz is at 2:43. If we position our timeline at, say, 2:40, it's 2:43 something, right? So where is the quiz? And then we will start here, and okay, the quiz is right there. We say false. We're done. We're finished, and then we pause immediately just before that break. And here's where we can add some content. So here we add more content, and the content we're going to add is this YouTube video. So we add a YouTube video. We have to give it a title. And the title is going to be UPGMA Algorithm Details. So this is the real remixing part of this. And we have to then provide a link. And we can provide a link. I've already gone through this once, so it provides it there. This is my own video on this, and we can go from 40 seconds in to 12:40. So it'll be 12 minutes of remixed content, and we just say done. And now we're done, and it continues to play. So we can apply these. We apply these changes, and we can close the editor. And now we are completely done, and we have this UPGMA algorithm remix that has been created that includes my 4-minute skeletal video, a quiz, a 1-question true-false quiz, 12 minutes of remixed content, and then a bit of reflection and preparation for the next learning unit. Okay, so there we are. So as you can see, I've taken a video that's less than 4 minutes long, that's just a really skeletal video based on a few slides, and then I've remixed in educational content that creates almost 20 minutes of active learning for students. And I say active learning because there's work to be done, there's that formative assessment, and there's an opportunity for exercises and reflection afterwards. I'm really excited about educational remixing, and even though it's built into the platforms, or the possibilities are built into the platforms like Panopto, I've never seen anybody describe a systematic process like this, despite all of the pressure of pandemic teaching. If you want to give it a try, you can download the quick guides to educational remixing using links in the description below. The main guide is the full remixing case that I just gave an example of. It requires your LMS to support in-video quizzes and embeddable YouTube content. Now, those are both available in Panopto, so if that's what your institution uses with its LMS for video, you're good to go. If your institution's video platform doesn't offer the same features, then you can try the alternative guide. And I used that, or I created that guide based on a walkthrough using the LMS Moodle, widely used LMS, but without Panopto. Now, it's not as tightly integrated as full in-video remixing, and it isn't a video lesson per se, but it still includes all of the key components. And of course, some educators may prefer non-video lessons in general. Okay, if you've made it this far, I want to thank you for sticking around. As I've said several times, I'm really excited about this idea, the idea of educational remixing. And I'd love to get your feedback as I create more content. If you found this idea valuable and you want to try it out in your own classes, please leave a comment below about your intentions and let me know how it goes. Is there anything I didn't address? Go ahead and ask in the comments. Also, please feel free to share this video with others who might find it useful, and maybe they can provide their input. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more material like this. And I'll see you in the next video. I'll have a couple of links up there. I'll have them up there. See you soon.